everybody, welcome back to That Fiction Live. Now, if you are a Shadowhunters fan, you may want to stick around for this video because I have so many epic things to announce. Simon & Schuster have organised a readathon of the Dark Artificer series in honour of the Queen of Day and Darkness paperback coming out, because the books originally came out in this sort of larger format of paperback, but we mean the actual paperback that exists in normal people terms. My stop is for Lord of Shadows, so I will be reading Lord of Shadows along with all of you, and I would love it so much if you joined in with me, because fangirling over Julian Blackthorne just cannot be done alone. This video is sponsored by Simon & Schuster, so thank you very much for that. The readathon will be running from the 15th of June up until the 25th of July, so every sort of 2 weeks we will be moving on to the next one. There will be a Twitter chat discussing Lord of Shadows over on the #Reads Twitter page, so make sure to be following them. There will be all sorts of giveaways and polls and questions you can get involved in. There's also a giveaway in this video, so stick around. The hashtag that we'll be using for the readathon is DA Readathon, as well as the Dark Artificers, so make sure to tweet me because we can have a good old fangirl session all about the things we love. So as I briefly just mentioned, there is also a giveaway in this video, so if you head over to my Twitter page, you can win an entire set of the Dark Artificers series in paperback. All the rules will be down below for that, so make sure to check it out if you have yet to complete your collection. But without further ado, we're going to start talking about Lord of Shadows and my favourite characters from the Shadowhunter Chronicles. This whole section will be spoiler free, so do not worry if you have yet to read the book. I will do a little juicy section right at the end, because reading Cassandra Clare books really requires some fandom counselling once in a while. I am an absolute avid Cassandra Clare reader. The world that she has created, I really just want to be in, hence this low-key cosplay that I am kind of sporting. My blazer literally is a cape, and it's something I would totally imagine Charlotte Branwell wearing back in the 1800s Shadowhunters era. We spend a lot of time in London in this series, the birthplace of my favourite duck-hating cinnamon roll, Will Herondale. We visit the Feylands way more than we did in the Mortal Instruments, and the stuff that they get up to is so dark, and that's something I really appreciated, because it's as though this series and the Chronicles have grown up. And this is kind of going on the verge of the older YA now, which is very exciting, because if you grew up with the series, you're yourself getting older. This is the trilogy that's set in the LA Institute, and it follows Emma and Julian, who, you know, are parabatai, but they kind of develop feelings, which is illegal, and that causes a whole lot of problems. Today I'm going to share with you a list of some of my favourites, because I thought it would give you a very good insight into this series if you haven't read it before. So since we are talking about Dark Artificers, I tried to find some kind of connection to the actual series with this list of characters, which is just my way of cheating, of limiting my options. Do let me know in the comments what your favourite Shadowhunters character is. Number 5 on my list is Christina Rosales. Now, Christina was not my favourite character in Lady Midnight, and I think she was really overshadowed by all of the other characters in that first book. In Lord of Shadows, I wanted her to be my best friend so badly. She is such a relatable character. She kicks ass when necessary. She's very honourable and moral at the same time. First of all, she's addicted to coffee, so I think we could really bond over that. Secondly, her favourite weapon is a throwing knife. How much more iconic can you get? I love how integral her heritage is to her throughout the books, and it's not forgotten even though we're fighting a kind of fairy demon battle. We get an insight into the Mexican Institute. Number 4, we have Julian Blackthorne, everybody. Who's surprised? You know, always me putting these morally grey men on my list of favourites. Arguably, Julian is the most complicated character in the Shadowhunter Chronicles. Such a well-rounded character who is loyal without a fault, which is kind of a given trait in a lot of Shadowhunters, but with him it borders on dangerous and a little bit unhinged, because sometimes what he's willing to do for the people that he loves is questionable. there's a lot of instances where if Emma hadn't been there to ground him, he would probably get himself killed. And I'm not here for that. So thank you, Emma, for keeping Julian alive. He's such a loose cannon at times that I just love reading about all his fun adventures that could end in death. Number 3 on my list is Kieran the Fae, and I didn't intend for him to become my favourite character at the end of the series. I went so 180 on Kieran that you can practically see the fairy dust swarm me as I turn. His scenes in Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness was some of my favourite scenes ever from the Shadowhunter world. He has this tendency to bring out the best in people, especially Mark, and you definitely don't get that from him in Lady Midnight, and I don't think anyone expected him to grow into such an integral character to the series. Kind of a Slytherin too, and I claimed him for my own house when I sorted the Shadowhunters characters into Hogwarts houses, and he's such a perfect fit for Slytherin. If you have not checked out that video yet, I will link it down below. Number 2, we have Alec Lightwood, the first character from the OG team from the Mortal Instruments. I feel as though Alec was such an underrated character at the start of the series. And I think it was Magnus that kind of made people, the readers, take a second look at him, because I have not met a lot of people that immediately took a liking to Alec. I did. From the very first time we meet him, I was like, hi, you're going to be my favourite character, hello. Oh, I always have to like the brooding, distanced character, don't I? So I do recognise that he wasn't the nicest character at the start of the series, and notice how as soon as he accepts who he is and starts a good relationship with him, very nice warlock, he loses that side of him that people didn't really like. But Alec will always be one of my favourites, and in Lord of Shadows he had some of the best scenes. I mean, seeing him with the Blackthorn kids is one of my favourite segments, and seeing him as a more of an adult role model was all of my dreams coming true, because he's really come a long way from when we meet him in the Mortal Instruments. And then for number 1, I have Tessa Grey, who is, I think, my favourite female character in all of the land. So it's no secret that The Infernal Devices is my favourite Cassandra Clare series, and that largely falls to Tessa, because I have yet to meet such a relatable character to myself, and I absolutely loved reading from her perspective. She's so wise, and her whole backstory is so interesting. Even though she doesn't play an integral part in the Dark Artifices as some of the other original characters from the other series, everything that she's doing is absolutely crucial for their survival, because she's working in the background, she's going to the labyrinth to find certain answers, and I just loved hearing the little glimpses as to what she's up to. So those are my top 5 Shadowhunters characters that is somehow connected to the Dark Artifices series. Honestly, we would be here all day, and this video would be an hour long if I was to go into absolutely everyone. Just some honourable mentions would be Raphael, Gideon and Gabriel Lightwood, we have Isabel, we have Magnus, we have Jace. Now I do have a few Lord of Shadows spoiler thoughts that I want to quickly discuss. If you haven't read Lord of Shadows, please exit this video now. Are you still here? Spoilers are coming. So I just want to explain some of my reasonings for putting everyone on this list. In reference to some of the scenes from Lord of Shadows, Julian losing Livy is what absolutely broke me in this book, and especially going back to that loyalty trait that he has, to now sort of have one of his siblings die pretty much under his watch was kind of traumatizing, let's be real. Oh, and I have to mention the scene I was referencing of Julian being a little bit questionable is when they're in the Feylands, the Seelie Queen tells him and Emma that, you know, you would have to break all of the Parabatai bonds if you would like to be together. And Emma says, no, I'm not going to do that. We can't do that. We can't end the Parabatai tradition just because we love each other. And Julian's like, well, yeah, you're right. That's a bad idea. And Emma kind of questions him, but you wouldn't if you had the chance, right? Yeah, of course not. Point number 2. Reason why I love Kieran so much in this book, particularly, is because the whole segment of them trying to save Kieran from fairies, I mean, he doesn't remember being involved in Emma and Julian's torture in Lady Midnight. He doesn't remember breaking up with Mark. So despite all those things, he doesn't really know that he's been a bit not the best at the beginning. He still throws himself in front of danger just to protect Mark. I mean, when he took that bullet or arrow, what was it? I cannot remember for the life of me. And that's when we started to see those little bits of goodness in him. But then he's not just the nicest person, which I really appreciate. And his whole relationship with, you know, his partners. Not gonna say who, because in case you haven't read the rest of the books, but just the highlight of my life and the way everything was developed. Incredible writing, Cassie. I just applaud you forever. So that's all I have for this video. I really had a good time kind of reminiscing the whole of the Shadowhunters world. And I think rereading the series really brings back what a roller coaster reading these books is. So I really hope you get involved with the readathon. I would love to keep discussing with you. So leave your comments on what your favourite characters are, or which book is your favourite from the Shadowhunters book. If you are not yet subscribed to my channel, make sure to hit that button so you get notified when I upload a new video. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, it would really help me out, and I will see you next time. Bye!